So I had them each build, we had a contest, we had a big street. We rented, then we were renting property, so we rented property on another island. We had a street, there were 9 groups, and each group competed to build a clubhouse. It's in a way kind of constrained optimization. They only have so many so-called primitives to work with. Now, the challenge there was not just building, but they were out shopping. So you can go buy pieces and furniture and other decorations from other places. Remember, this is a world, Second Life is growing fast enough. If you spent 24 hours a day, you would not be able to visit all the new sites that are coming up. This is a sophisticated world. So while they're building this, if anybody, I'm going to go to the search menu, and if anybody wants to see anybody wants to see another place, for instance, I'm not sure what Brazil is. It kind of looks like another island. Does anybody have a particular place, kind of place they'd like to visit?
How about the jazz club?
Jazz. Let's see what they have at jazz. All right? Now don't take me to any place too risque. Your choice.
Okay. Sure.
Jade's Jazz Lounge? Okay. Click on that.
This is your career right here.
Here's my career. There we go. Remember, I didn't pick this place. Right, Aaron? Nice thing about going as a little kid is that nobody can guess you in the air. Nobody knows that you're a dog.
Are they going to let you in if you're a little kid?
I might be too young. I might think that. There is, by the way, a teen version of this, where you have to be 15 or under, and you have to prove that you're that young.
Now, can you, like, let's say to build a barn, can you, let's say, set up how many people must be involved for it to succeed, or how would you, like...
We can set up groups, and we can, so a certain site can have a certain, most of those social things that you want to do are possible. You can set up groups, you can set up roles within groups, you can say who can, for a particular area of land, who can go there, who can change it. You can also put up admission. You can start a discotheque, and people have to pay a little bit of money. And remember, it's little money. Linden dollars is like, $275 million to a dollar. So it's only a couple cents. People won't mind that. But it is real money. It has a conversion rate. So if you do it enough, I mean, it's enough. It's sort of like playing penny ante poker. It means it's pennies, but it's still, it's enough to keep your interest. And to me, there ought to be, I can't quite grab it just yet, but it seems to me there are ways. I'm sort of thinking, what sort of business game would work, could really exploit this environment? And the usual business games are more high level, abstracted, spreadsheets and so forth. Here, so maybe it's something to do with supply chains, physical logistics. If you don't have the document in time, you can't put cargo on the boats or something like that. Now, how many minutes do I have left?
Well, you're not that constrained. I mean,
Okay.
people
We've
start walking in.
tried, if the barn is okay, do we have our barn built? All right, let's give these guys a little applause for that. We tried one other scenario. Andrew McCosh had the lead for the airport. I really wanted him to be here for this because he's the guy that inspired our next scenario. We were trying to see, could we model some kind of ethical dilemma. He's the one that's sort of polling all the classes in the business school about who's teaching ethics and so forth. And I'm interested in deonttic systems, which is rules, regulations, and so forth. We're trying to make this more. You're going to teleport me back? All right. So they're going to teleport me back to the island. So we're going to go to a different part of the island. Are the slides working here, Pi? Can you show us the Crandon slides? So now I'm going to give you a little slideshow in Second Life. So I live out on Key Biscayne. That's Key Biscayne, we just saw it there. And next to where I live, Andrew also lives there, by the way. We're neighbors, and so we were actually chatting about this on walking on the beach out there. If you see, go next slide. Can you zoom in? One of you zoom in closer. That's it. So this is an outline of a park. It's called Crandon. This used to be the zoo. Those of you that lived here long enough. Go to the next slide. So this is now known as the Crandon Park Gardens, actually, and it's a beautiful place. You can see it has ponds and trees. These are Google Earth snapshots. Next slide, please. Walking in. Next slide. So do you see, you walk around this beautiful pond, and there's this little wood fence, and these big exotic birds are right out there on the pathway. Next slide, please. That's it, there you go. And there's this pond. I go out there, and I'm trying to think, certain research thoughts, and I go out and I sit, and there's kind of a swing, and I sit next to this pond. And one day I was seeing some people standing next to this fence, sort of pointing out to the island like there was something interesting there. And I've been by there numerous times, didn't see anything interesting. Keep going. You see the grass goes right into the water. Next slide. This island, see this very pleasant place. Keep going. Next slide. Swans, next slide. But now, next slide. When you go in, there's a little sign on the gate that nobody pays any attention to. Crocodiles in there. Who would ever think? This is the place where mothers are going around with baby carriages and so forth. Next slide. This is what was on the island that was attracting attention. And so now, so I went and I asked there's this lady that keeps track of the grounds, and I asked her, well, how can, this has got to be dangerous. And little kids, there's no fence around this island. A little kid could fall in the water. But crocodiles, not alligators, but crocodiles are protected. So they're not allowed to go in and lift this thing out and bring it somewhere else. And this has been a point of contention for this crocodile has been coming back for like 3 years. Spends the winter there, winters on the island. Apparently it's kind of hibernation, so supposedly they don't eat.
What does he eat?
When we were developing this, careful now, don't advance just yet. For those of you a little bit squeamish, you might want to close your eyes at this point. When we were developing this model, this incident occurred last week in Taiwan. You ready for this?
No.
Okay, next slide. A guy in Taiwan was dealing with the crocodile there. So it can happen. You see there's a hand bit off this guy's arm. Okay. Now let's take us over to our virtual Crandon Gardens.
You need to send in your avatar doctor. We saw that in that.
That's what they're doing in Taiwan. Actually, the guys, they doubt if he's going to be able to play the piano again, but he will get his arm back. They are sewing it back up. Here is our virtual version of Crandon Gardens. And you see we also have a swan. There's an eagle flying around. Come on, guys. Oops. Somebody fell in the water. That's the wrong guy. Get out of the water. So this guy is smart enough to get out of the water. How about your guy? You notice what's in, okay, the little kid's in the water,
Up to his neck.
and there's a crocodile. Now, we haven't quite got all of the stage directions managed just yet.